Okay, so now we were talking about the approver here, right? So in our case, it will be the second option, right? Automatically assign an approver using standard or custom hierarchy field. And this is on your user record. Okay, so whoever is the manager, they will be the approver for any travel approval request coming created by me. Now, in some cases, if the business requirement is that, okay, the person who is submitting the record, uh, 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 that person has the option to select who is the approver, right? For example, let's say uh, I'm using, so your given application, your your given application may be used by, right, the CEO of the company as well, the C level of the executive or the people, right? So the people who are in the top of the hierarchy, right, they are just very limited, right? 4, 5, 10 handful number of people, right? So maybe they should have the option in some cases, right? Let's say there is a board of people, right? And they need approval from each one of them, right? So in that cases, maybe I may want to just select who is going to approve this, right? So in that cases, you can select the first option. In third one, like I wanted to assign this record to a queue, right? Not to a user. So a queue is a group of people. So you create a queue first and then assign multiple people into that queue. And once you create a record which goes into an approval process, and if you have selected the third option as an approver, and whatever the queue you have selected, let's say for example, let's see, sample queue or queue. Let me see what options I have. Okay, looks like there is just one queue created anyway. So you can select the queue here, and that record will be, sent to that queue for approval. And the people who are a part of that queue, they have the option to, approve or reject. All the people will have the options to approve or reject. Now the last one is like you automatically assign to approve. Now here you can predefine who is going to approve. Okay, this user or this queue, right, or another user. Okay, now here you can select, like, do you need a unanimous approval, like approval, all has to approve or all has to reject, in order to decide, right, this is finally approved or rejected, right? If it is unanimous, right, if it got rejected at one step, it will be, or by one person, it will be, rejected by, rejected from the approval process, right? Or if you need all of them has to approve this record, then you select unanimous approval, or like approve or reject based on the first response. Now, again, it depends on the business requirement. Okay, so you should know the capability, like what all options we have, but certainly you may not, have all the features in one approval, right? It depends on use case by use case. Okay, so let's go with the second option, like manager, and click on save. Okay, so it says that you have just created a one-step approval for travel approval using Jumpstart Wizard. Although not required, it is recommended that you perform additional actions. See, these are the actions which are, if you would have gone through the standard setups, you'll have to do it through. But now these are just asking you to, you can, configure it as an additional actions. So let's view the approval process. Now, whatever we are seeing on this one, this is like the skeleton of the approval process, or you can say the template of how an approval process is configured. Okay, so remember we had configured entry criteria. It says total expense on travel approval record should be greater than 0. Then it is eligible for, going inside the approval process. Now, once it goes into the approval process, it gets lock the record from being edited. Okay, now there are approval steps. See, we have just configured step 1, and here and if I expand it, so actions, there is no actions as of now configured. Remember, in terms of actions, we can either create a task, to do task for some internal agents or users, send an email alert to internal users. When I say internal users, it means within the company users who are using this application, or your external users like your outside, your customers, your partners, or whoever is using your application from customer point of view. Or you can do field update. Let's say on travel approval record, right? There is a field called, let's say, status, right? So if it is accepted, then I want to change the value from pending approval to, let's say, approved. If it is rejected, then I want to change the status to rejected. So this is called field update. Okay. An outbound message, I said, like you wanted to send a message to the external application, right? So in that case, you will do that. Okay, so let's see the configurations in Trailhead. Fine. So we have configured the first step, right? Let's so we notice that the approval step actions is created, to route all approvals to the user manager. So this is how it has been. Step one, it is routing it to, I mean, as long as the total expense is greater than 0, it will be, sent to approval process, and your manager would be your, will be assigned as an approver. Okay. Now let's talk about the second requirement, which is out of state travel. If it is out of state travel, we need a travel coordinator. Okay. So let's name the approval step as travel coordinator approval, and you see new approval step. So here is a button called new approval step. Okay. This one was our step number 1. Am I audible? Because I see internet connection still. Roshan, all good?
Going down.
Now is it good?
Going down, right? That now.
Now,
Yeah, now it's
Sitara?
gone.
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. Okay. I will get this uploaded on the channel as well. So okay. Am I audible now? Okay. So what we are going to do on the top, you can see that. So what we did, we have clicked on new approval step. So this is the page. And here we can see the previous approval step, which is step number 1, right? There is no criteria because all record goes to approval for your managers as long as they have the expense greater than 0. Now this is step number 2. Click on next. So here we'll see criteria are met, right? So select, it goes to second step only when the out of state checkbox on the travel approval is true. Not all record has to go, right? So and then click on next. So we have defined criteria at step 2. Only when out of state is true, then it goes to travel coordinator. So travel coordinator would be our approver, right? So let us go to the next step. Okay. So here we are getting select the approver, right? So what options we have? Now automatically assign the approver. we are selecting this, the fourth option. Okay. Now travel coordinator would be one person or one queue. It depends how you want to manage or configure. Let's say in this case, there is a user, a single user who is, dealing with all the travel requests in your company. So you will assign that user to this, uh, configuration as an approver. In our org, since there can be just two users, so either I select myself or the second user. Sound is good so far, right? Roshan,
Yes.
is
Yes.
my audio? Are you getting me?
Voice is
Actually,
breaking
your
in
network
between.
is fluctuating
Okay.
continuously.
Okay. Now,
And
anyways.
now would
Okay. Okay. Just stop me if you don't find. Okay. So what we have done at the second step, uh, we have selected who is going to act as a travel coordinator. Okay. So first one will not be here because the submitter will have to choose it manually. Second one, we are not going to send because in second one, we can select the manager. Third one, it's just for queue, right? Here we cannot select a user. And fourth one here, we can select a user. So hence we have selected the fourth one. Okay, now save it. And now we'll select, no, I will do this later, creating a task or actions. So what we have done, Roshan, if you can read it out here. Hello.
we have created a second step for
Okay.
verification.
Okay. Explain me what we have done from the beginning.
First, we have created an approval process
Mhm.
for the user who is going to give a request about their outgoing attestation or leave.
Mhm.
For
So,
that,
so,
after that,
so let's say you
yes,
are, let's say you are a Salesforce admin. Okay. Now you have been asked to configure this requirement. So what you have done so far, you have created an approval process with entry
first of all,
with.
we have created an approval process
Mhm.
uh, with entry jump start wizard
Mhm. Okay.
and assign it to the manager for
Okay.
approval
Yeah.
as an approver. And
Right.
that's the first step. And in second step, we have assigned a coordinator. Like if the out station if the station is out of state, then it will go for coordinator to approve
Okay.
for
Sounds good.
approving the process.
Sounds good. So what we have done so far, right? If you see our notes here, right, on the top, first thing we have done is initial submission criteria, which is total expense amount greater than 0. Okay. In the second step, what we have done, we have defined our steps, single step or multi-step, right? Step 1
Multiple.
and step 2. In the third step, we have defined who is going to be the approver, right? Now, once we have set up this, now we want to take some actions at each step. Okay. And the action could be in the form of sending an email notification, doing some field update like approved or rejected, or sending a message, or doing or creating a to-do task for yourself or for another user. Okay. So let's see what task has been created. Yes.
We can do multiple actions also.
Yes, yes, you can create multiple actions here. So at a given step, let's say if I expand this here, you can create task. You can again come and click on add new. You can select email alert as well. You can do field update as well, and you can select outbound match. So you can create n number of multiple tasks. You can create 2 tasks. Okay, it's not like, but I think there is an overall limit how many number of total steps a single approval process can have, and how many actions you can configure. Let us just check it out now that you have asked. Approval process limit. So I think there is a 40 or so kind of limit. Okay, in the meantime, if it until it comes, let me just check it.
Mm, You're not audible.
Okay. Now is it audible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you see, there are some limits, and this one is per org. I mean, in the whole org, you can have 1,000 active approval process. How many approval process you can have on per object? So there is 300. Let's focus on what we need to know. Okay. If you can hear me, then Sitara. Hello.
Yes, we can hear.
Yes. So you see the steps per approval process, right? You can have up to 30 steps. How many approvers per step you can create? 25. Okay. So that kind of limit are there in the org.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so now that we have created our steps, let's now try to create actions. Okay, so under final approval actions and final rejection actions. See, at each step also you can define these actions. It depends on your business case, right? But for this specific criteria, what we are going to do, we are going to create final approval actions and final rejection actions, right? When I say final, it means the record which comes out of step 1 or step 2, what is going to happen with them. So once they come out of step 1 or step 2, if they are approved, then the action which is configured inside final approval actions section, right, under this box, that will be executed. If the record is rejected in step 1 or step 2, then whatever action that we configure inside final rejection.
You're not audible.
Hello, now?
Hello.
Yeah, better.
Okay. Okay, so keep on asking. So what I was saying that I mean, in step 1 or step 2, so you can either approve or reject a record, right? Or your request may be approved or rejected, right? So if it is approved, then the action which is configured inside final approval action will be called. Or if it is rejected, then the actions, these 4 actions, which you have created, that will be executed if they are rejected. You got this one?
Yeah.
Okay. So if it is approved, the final one will be executed, else final rejection actions will be created. Now let's go and check it out. So click on, so here what we are going to do, we are going to change the field status, right? Initially when we create a request that may be in like new status or pending approval kind of status. And once it is accepted, I want to change the status to approved. If it is declined, then I want to change the status to rejected. So this will be a field update kind of action. So we'll select field update. And let's give it a name like setup status to approved. Come on. Okay, in the meantime, in the Trailhead, so we'll create a field update kind of action. When it is approved, then change the status to approved. Okay. And next we'll create one field update action in final rejection action. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. And next we'll create another field update. If it is declined, then I wanted to change the status to rejected. So these two field update actions we are going to create, one inside a final approval action section and another inside final rejection actions category or section. So these two we are going to create, and then we'll test our I should be audible here. So here it will ask like which field you want to update on the travel approval object. Okay, so we are going to update status. And down below it will ask like which value we wanted to update it to. So it will be approved. Okay, now save it. So this one is created for approved action. Okay, as you can see, Sitara here, we have configured this field update action inside final approval action, right? Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes. So similarly, we are going to configure what should happen.
Hello.
Yes, yes, I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Similarly, we are going to configure what should happen if approver rejects a record, right? So again, we are going to create a field update, and here we will update the status to rejected.
Okay.
This is a meaningful name which I'm going to give, like, so you can give any other name as well, but keep it meaningful. It should be rejected. Save it. So as you can see, I'm going to summarize it. We have created an approval process on travel approval request. Okay. Any record, now hear me carefully, any record which is created in the system, and if they meet the entry criteria, which is this total expense greater than 0, it will go into the approval process, and the first step will be executed. In the first step, there is no other criteria, so it will directly go to your manager. In the second step, the criteria is that the record will go into second step only when out of state is true. So only when the request is for out of state travel, right? Then again, additionally, it will go to the travel coordinator, which is this user in my case. Now, the request may be approved or rejected at any step, right? If they are approved, then the action which is configured inside final approval action will be executed. If they are rejected, then the action which...
Not audible.
Okay. What did you hear the last time?
The first step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it is approved at the first step or second step, it will go into the final approval actions. If it is rejected, it goes to the second, rejection actions. Okay. Now let's try to verify this. What it is doing. Okay, so there is an additional setting in process automation settings. Okay.
You're not audible again.
Now, hello. Hello, Roshan.
Now,
Sorry about that. Okay.
now not audible.
Not audible now?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay, so did you get what we discussed so far?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll take a pause here. Okay. What we are going to do is we'll connect in the next week, but theoretically and from configuration point of view, you got what you have to do. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how does it shows up in practical, like as an end user, how the records are behaving? We'll see this in the next session. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Okay. Roshan? Okay. Okay, we'll connect in the next session then. I will upload it and then we'll see the practical part in the next week. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks
Okay.
everyone. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.